Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Loads of matches in the VCT yesterday, especially in the Challenger side with the face-off coming to a conclusion, but also rumours about Ye not being able to join any other VCT Tier 1 team for the rest of the season based on the Riot VCT roster rules. He could join Tier 2 as Vanity has done, but going to another Tier 1 team is apparently almost certainly off the table. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into. First of all, some updates on the game side itself. Firstly, China pre-orders have now begun, so that's coming soon, and the Chinese scene is looking to level up their performances over the coming months. But also, Gekko has been nerfed, so the mosh pit has been nerfed in terms of damage to objects, reduced by 2.5 times. That means it can no longer break. I think Killjoy's ultimate was a bit of a discussion going on there. That's no longer possible anymore. And also, Wingman will now always die if he is left last alive. So let's say Gekko is down, the entire team is down, Wingman's still defusing the bomb, like that's not going to happen anymore. Gekko basically needs to try and stay alive as a character in order for Wingman to be effective. I think for planting it's still probably okay because you send Wingman off to plant, and even if you go down as Gekko, if one of your team is still alive somewhere, I think it's still going to go down. But nonetheless, right, pretty interesting idea that Wingman maybe did need a slight nerf in that aspect. But then again, some would say the agent wasn't even particularly strong, but there has been a couple of nerfs here. The agent I thought was relatively well balanced, Gekko, upon release. It's definitely strong, but it's not outrageously so like other agents we've seen in recent memory, such as Chamber. We'll see what happens when things really kick underway in the relative franchise leagues around the world. Gekko has seen some use in the Pacific and also in the EMEA franchise league, and of course the Americas starts in a couple of days as well. We'll see what they decide to do there, and whether teams like NRG that are always kind of hot on the meta decide to give it a go. Also an update on the European side. A couple of surprising results yesterday, I thought, with Foot Esports taking down Team Heretics 2-0 actually, and then Team Liquid went down to Vitality. And it's got to be said, Team Liquid have been one of the more disappointing teams so far this season. They were pretty underwhelming at the lock-in event. Yes, they've only lost one game here so far to Vitality, but given the guys they signed to their team and how good their team should be, they just haven't been particularly good. Now, as I said yesterday, there are 4 spots up for grabs here in EMEA to go through to Masters, but those 4 spots are going to be hotly contested with Foot, Fnatic, Koi, and Team Vitality, the teams occupying the top 4 spots. Like, that's a pretty scary set of teams already, given how this is going to develop over time, with only 4 teams qualifying, with Liquid, Na'Vi, Giants, Heretics, all very good teams in their own rights down here. So, man, this league is competitive, very competitive indeed, and Liquid definitely underwhelming from my perspective so far. We will get onto the disguised situation in a few minutes' time, but there has been some rumours they're going to have to make a change. What change is it going to be? Shot Up, though, formerly of FaZe, has been discussing possibilities, big things coming, he says, and Moist Sim says that's mad. So that sounds to me like he's potentially leaking a move to Mad Lions, who might be making a change over there from Group B, I believe they're in, for the VCT Tier 2 side. So just stay tuned for that one, a possibility to keep your eyes on. Speaking of roster changes, though, we've got to discuss Cloud9. They revealed their schedule. It was already revealed, but here it is. So they play Evil Geniuses on the 2nd of April, then they play Loud, 100T, NRG, etc. for the entire split they play, and then playoffs at the end of May. Now, this is crucial, right, because this season, there's not 2 splits as there has been before. Even back in 2021, there was 3 splits, right? It was Masters 1, Masters 2, Masters 3. This year, there's just 1 split, then Masters, then that's basically it until Champions. So, it's a bit of a weird format, but what it does mean is that changes intra-split, as there used to be, between Split 1, Split 2, just won't be happening anymore, and that's going to affect Ye, we'll see in a second. Now, as they say in this tweet, for people preying on our downfall, here is the schedule. Now, their coach MCE actually gave some comments on their recent changes in an interview and said, have some faith in what we are doing. Everybody thinks we are going to be really bad, but we are not going to be really bad. The expectation is to compete, whether people believe that or not. Now, I think this is an interesting statement, right? It feels like, in a way, Cloud9 management a little bit out of touch with what the fans actually are experiencing here, because this Cloud9 team was formed like it was meant to be very good, super team, all this that people said, and they've dropped 2 of their, most liked, better players in certainly Ye and Vanity as well, fan favorite players, and they've got rid of those guys, brought in alternatives, and they've kind of, misled the truth, let's just say, from our understanding as to the reasons behind this. They talk about role issues. We know there was other things at play in them deciding to make those calls, and now there seems to be this feeling from MCE and the coaching staff that, people are expecting these new players they're bringing in, these young younger players, let's say in Jake especially, to be bad and preying on their downfall. That's not necessarily the case for me. I don't think anyone wants these players, Rooney and Jake, to fail necessarily. It's more like the organization having screwed around and messed up, fan favorite players at times in Vanity and Yay. It's the organization that people want to fail. And this whole twisting the narrative thing, I don't really think has helped their case, to be honest. So I thought it was also funny saying everyone thinks we're going to be really bad. We're not going to be really bad, which almost sounds like we're going to be bad. We're just not going to be really bad type thing. So look, we'll see. I'm obviously hoping that they're, new players on the team, Rooney and Jake, do well. But I think it is a pretty common opinion within the community that if Cloud9 were to crash and burn and not do particularly well as an organization here in Valorant, then the community would be somewhat quietly satisfied given the way they've messed everyone around and their own players over the last few weeks, and also potentially prevented Yay from playing in Tier 1 at all this season. His only play this season, his only tournament this season in Valorant might well be at the lock-in event, which has now passed. So what this comes down to is the VCT transfer rules. As I said, usually what happens, I believe, is that the teams are locked for a split, and then going into the upcoming split, they can then make a certain change. Now, however, as cNed says, he has a great YouTube channel as well, this guy, due to VCT transfer rules, it's official, Yay will not be playing in Tier 1 Valorant this year. Do you think somebody should have signed him? And also, should someone have signed him from Tier 2? So I think Yay's chance was to get on a team before the start of this split. If he was to get on a team maybe today or tomorrow, he might be okay. But there's effectively a roster lock period during the actual split itself. So from now, teams could make changes after lock-in before now, but it's understandable that many North American teams didn't want to buy Yay or pay Yay whatever to actually get him onto their team, because who needed Yay on their team apart from Cloud9? No one really, because every other team either could have potentially got Yay, like 100 Thieves, decided not to, went for other options, and therefore don't need Yay's services for their roster. And okay, they might make a change down the line, those teams might need Yay, but there was no incentive to do that before the start of the split, and therefore Yay is not on a team at this split, and therefore won't be able to be joining one, because that's how the roster rules work. They can't make significant changes within the split, and the issue is there's only one split. It goes this split, then Masters, then the LCQ, then Champions, right? So, there's basically no chances to make a change. The only way it could happen if there was an emergency transfer. So if a team has a really bad situation, they need to get an emergency player in, and they were to get Yay, they could make that happen with some circumstances, but the season is over very shortly anyway, so many teams might not even bother to try and give this a go, and it may be necessary in the short term to have a situation like Vanity where Yay goes to Tier 2. So this is the question, right? Yay, it doesn't seem like it's going to be able to get on a Tier 1 team based on the schedule of the season and just the way things are going. So what will Yay do? Will Yay take a break? Will he go and stream for a while? Or will he follow the Vanity approach and actually sign to a Tier 2 team? Yes, it would kind of keep him competing and at that level, at least, playing competitive matches, I think would be a benefit, right, to go down to Tier 2. But for Yay to start out in the franchise league and for his only option realistically to be forced to go down to Tier 2 and work it out in challenges doesn't seem appealing to him, I don't think, at all. So, what is he going to do? Because also you go down there, you don't do so well, your stock is now struggling a bit more, you're playing with a team that's less experienced, with, a weaker IGL to set you up with the rest of the team, you're not looking as good as you did before, therefore people think you've fallen off. It's a really tricky situation for Yay. Vanity, I think his only option really is to go to Tier 2 and try and fight his way back, but for Yay, if he just stuck it out this season, teams would make a change for next year, but does he want to wait a whole season, man? It's a tough situation, and as I say, this is why people aren't liking Cloud9, because they forced this hand upon him, whereas they could have just not signed him for the money that they paid on him that they then couldn't afford and let him go elsewhere. Quick note as well on the North American Challenger side, TSM Disguise, they played yesterday, DSG went down again, close fought battle, but I will say the groups, the way that Knights have done it here was absolutely atrocious. Disguise lost their last 4 games Disguise have played. They played M80 online, it was all online, but they played M80 and got crushed. They then played TSM and lost a close one. They then played M80 and got, closer series that they first played here in this tournament, but still lost. And then they played TSM and just kind of underperformed here and lost the series. But their last 4 games have been against the same 2 teams. They didn't play a single game against anyone from their other group, which is just honestly ridiculous how this tournament format works. It's just embarrassing in my opinion. I don't even understand how it's possible to make it so bad. But yeah, this was the series. DSG TSM 18-3 or 13-8, sorry, and then 13-11 on the game too. So competitive series. They didn't play particularly well. Riku, though, having come in for Exalt, did a very integral job, I thought, to their success. But yeah, this team has been kind of sliding for a little while now, and there's an argument to say that Clear maybe is going to get replaced and Gangsta hasn't been playing playing so well on average. Corey had a great series for TSM, but yeah, changes might be brewing there for DSG in the future. The other big series, though, is FaZe eliminated. This was looking very competitive for a time this series. Game 1 was outrageous. G2 should have won this 13-11. They somehow choked an afterplant, and FaZe managed to take it to overtime, but eventually G2 won regardless, and then Game 2, Oxy came to play and knocked out FaZe from the tournament. So, yeah, impressive result from G2. FaZe out already, top 8 of the tournament, as with Disguised. We'll see the bracket here in a second. Dicey tried his best, but it was Oxy, especially on that Game 2 Haven. 32-16 on the Jet, outrageous stuff. But Game 1, 18-16 for G2 in the end, after a cracking overtime, actually. And Penny was the main standout of that map. But yeah, FaZe, they've got to consider potential changes as well. babybay generally has been probably their strongest player, but Dicey this series did well. So maybe things have to be considered there as well. And this is the bracket as it stands. So M80 versus the GAR, that goes down today, with 2 more games to be played as well, with Oxygen, TSM, and Moist Moguls G2 again happening tonight. So very exciting stuff. Very much interested to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.